Young Boys 2, Manchester United 1. Very, very difficult, annoying, disappointing to take defeat. Cam, loads to get into because we was in a winning position and it looked very, very comfortable. How do you see that, man?
I mean, first of all, 11 men, we win that game every day of the week. Wan-Bissaka, I don't know what he's playing at, going for that. And I think we look at the stats. If there's one player on our team who you'd expect to miscontrol the ball, it's Wan-Bissaka. If you're on an Astro pitch like we were, you miscontrol that ball. It's not like grass. It's not going to be held up for you. If you miscontrol that ball, it's going to run, as it did. And he ends up in that sort of situation. Obviously, in hindsight, it's easy to say that sort of thing. And maybe it's something you don't really think about before the game. But it does make a difference. Wan-Bissaka, technically, is not quite up to it yet. And we look at all these other fullbacks, your Trents, your Reece James, whatever. Even to be honest, Luke Shaw on the other side. He can play infield. He can make underlapping runs, overlapping runs. Wan-Bissaka can't do that. If you ask him to receive the ball infield, you get what happened there. He goes inside to receive the ball and ends up snapping someone and getting himself sent off. It was embarrassing.
It's a very good point about receiving it infield. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, to be honest, I think he was under more pressure there. Balls run away from him on the surface, and the rest has happened. And after that, to be fair, I think Ole got some things wrong, but it's all come from that red card.
How much? You said it there. It's all come from that red card. Look, the outrage is there. We've lost our first game of the season. I understand that. But how much of this is on Ole and the tactics and the lack of response and the decisions, and how much of this is on players making real bad individual errors in terms of a bad day at the office?
Look, I mean, yeah, players made individual errors, obviously. Wan-Bissaka first and Lingard right at the end. But if you look at the system, I think Ole got it wrong. When as soon as Wan-Bissaka got himself sent off, Ole made the wrong choice. I think at half-time there, brought on Varane for Donny van de Beek. And what he's done there is he said, I want to keep my best individuals on the pitch. I want to keep Pogba and Bruno Fernandes on the pitch rather than going to the system that's most suited for the game. So I think going to a back three was a poor call. I think in the first half, especially.
So because we went to the 4-4-1 just to see the half out, should he have just stuck with that, in your opinion?
I think, either a 4-4-1 or go to a 4-5-0. I think first half, especially, young boys were playing a lot of switches, working a lot of wing play, but the wing play was coming through the wingers and the fullbacks doubling up. If you want to deal with that, you need pressure on the wings. You need two players either side. As soon as he went to a midfield that only had three and they're all centre mids covering the centre, and the five obviously has the wing backs, you've only got one player either side. If they get dragged in, you're in trouble. And that's what happened for the first goal. We needed two players in each wing able to cope. And at the start, that four, so as soon as Wan-Bissaka went off, that four had Pogba and Bruno on each wing. They weren't tracking back enough, weren't supporting their men. They were letting crosses come into the box. Ole then said, right, okay, I want to keep Pogba and Bruno Fernandes on the pitch rather than getting on some wingers who will track back. And that, for me, is what cost us. I think the reaction to going a man down was poor. I don't think there was any need really to bring on a third centre back. I think we should have just kept with the four at the back, and then we might have been able to offer a little bit more going forward as well.
In terms of the changes after that as well, Ronaldo and Fernandes off, Matic and Jesse Lingard on. I know obviously Jesse went on to make a bad mistake that made us lose the game, so I don't mean in that sense because we know that. But in terms of the thinking behind that, could you see it?
To be perfectly honest, yeah, 100%. I think taking Bruno off possibly would have happened a bit earlier. I think, as I said a minute ago, if it was me making the decision, I would have brought Donny off at half-time, yes. But rather than Varane, I would have brought Matic on just to anchor that midfield with Fred. Then you've got a back six there that's fairly secure, fairly stable. In front of that, as long as you've got wingers that track back, great. I would have brought on Lingard for Pogba. Got plenty of energy. He will track his man back all the time. And we've taken off for an hour for probably Mason Greenwood, just for a little bit more energy, a little bit more mobility going up. Because Ronaldo really, other than the goal all night, didn't really offer too much, which is fine. Not every game is going to be the best player on the pitch doing everything.
Especially in a game like this that changes dramatically with those circumstances as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's all just changed massively. I think just, as you say, the subs weren't great. The reaction to going down wasn't great. And then the individual mistakes were poor. I think, going to a back five so early just invited pressure on ourselves. And when you invite pressure on yourself that early, it's a really long time to see out 45 minutes or more than that. So it was always going to be tough. It's just a really frustrating one that the number of mistakes we've made. And just a few days after, Ole's come out in the press conference and he's talking about Istanbul last year, how we've let it slip, how we've let it get away. And it's all happened again. We've just got to make sure now we win our home games and make sure in the rest of the away games, we get some points.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. In terms of it's the first game, and this is me trying to just come with a bit of positive energy. Like the positives are obviously another goal for Ronaldo. We were in cruise control, absolutely comfortable before that incident happened. But all of that's gone now. But it is the first game. It's the first game. Yes, there's a bit of pressure now because you don't want to get off to a losing start. But we should be fine, in your opinion, right?
Yeah, and as you mentioned, it's the first game, but I think even before Wan-Bissaka went off, there were some positives to take from that. I think compared to last season, we've seen that in the first sort of 20 minutes, when we lost the ball, rather than gambling and trying to win it back really high, when the press had been broken, we got numbers behind the ball, delayed them, and actually we were controlling the game as a result. So we were defending much more maturely than we were last year. I think as well, if you look at Bruno, the last time we were a man down, I think it was PSG away, possibly, when
PSG
Fred got sent off. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, but when Fred got sent off, and Bruno was running around like a madman, pressing by himself, and that was really not helping us. We weren't able to sort of get any control. We weren't able to sort of defend very well at all because he was off by himself the whole time. Today, I mean, yes, he was doing a little bit of it and his sort of stupid flicks at times which weren't needed, but in terms of his actual defensive shape, that was better. So you can see already, in terms of maturity, he's come on the level, which is good. There's positives to take from it, but overall, Wan-Bissaka, Lingard, individual mistakes, and Ole got his reaction wrong.
Yeah, that's the frustrating thing about this is like, and I'll probably keep saying it till I'm blue in the face. Everything that could have gone wrong tonight went wrong. Apart from obviously like the first 13 minutes, obviously Ronaldo scores and we were good after that as well. But up until that red card incident, the red card is the thing that went wrong. Then clearly now in hindsight, the reaction to the red cards and the changes he makes wrong. Brings on Varane. Varane doesn't get to his man. They score. Yeah. But then again, he was good apart from that. Saved us a couple of times as well. Then obviously right at the end when you're thinking, just smash and grab it, just get out. It's a horrible game. It's 1-1. Just off you go. Jesse Lingard does something that's so uncharacteristic. It just went from bad to worse tonight, didn't it? I can't even ask for a man of the match when it's like this, so I won't.
No, there's no point doing a man of the match. The one other thing worth saying, I think, before we finish is when you get inconsistency like this, people talk all the time about Ole hasn't got a system, he hasn't got this, hasn't got that. When we're playing well, we're so unpredictable because there's no real patterns of play that we do constantly. Impossible to defend because when it's turned on, it works perfectly. Yeah. But what it means is that when it's not working, there's nothing to fall back on, and it can be even worse. And that's what we saw today.
That's a really good point. You say a lot of stuff that make me go, actually, yes, that's a good point. That's a good point. That is actually a compliment. Disappointing one, man. I feel like shit. I'm not gonna lie. It feels worse than it is because I can understand all of the things that you're saying and what a lot of people are saying online. I get it, but I just feel like it's one game in it. It's our first loss of the season. It hurts, and the manner of it just feels. It feels like it's like 4 or 5 games into the Champions League and it's really going to be difficult to qualify now. That actually isn't the case, but the manner of it and the way we lost in the last minute and just the sequence of events makes this more difficult to take as we're reacting. Do you know what I mean? It is tough. But thanks for joining us, man. We're going to see a lot more of you, hopefully on the channel and reaction stuff. You're at all the games as well. So I'm sure we'll catch up again very, very soon, bro.
See you soon, Flax, and cheers for today.
100%, bro. Take care.